Okay? So try those things. Let's talk about his right hand now. Lot of attack, and he is killing the notes most of the time. I'm not talking about like the intros chords to some of his slower songs. I'm talking about when he was going off. He was really attacking the strings, really digging in hard on the notes. And so you're going to have to really practice that and really throw that right hand in. And that's how he got a lot of that tone from his hands. It seems to me, had incredibly strong hands to do the kind of bending and to get those kind of sounds. He also did a lot of string raking, where he would mute strings and rake across up and down strokes. Even one. To get all those different percussive sounds, he would be constantly raking those strings, and he'd be really working. Like when I was playing that intro piece before, I'm really pushing down and vibratoing those notes. I'm really working them, and I'm really digging. See, I'm really working the notes with my left hand vibrato, and I'm really pushing down, and I'm really raking up hard to get those sounds, and that's all part of that technique, that left and right hand together, digging in, and you're going to want to get real good at that and practice that. Big bends, big vibrato, aggressive attack. I'm using a Fender DeVille amp, set clean, totally clean, with some reverb. He used a variety of amps throughout his career. Dumble, I think, was one of his favorites. He even used like a rotating speaker cabinet on some stuff, a Leslie, with there's like a fans inside spinning as the air comes through, and it gives you that real kind of shaky, rotating sound. Kind of cool. And then for the lead tones, I usually kick in the tube screamer. He made that one tube screamer. I think it was like an Ibanez, something along those lines. Tube screamer, pretty famous, and now because he used it, that type on eBay is ridiculous, like $500 or so, because it's such a wanted piece of gear. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of his techniques here and see if we can get you playing some of the things in that style of, right? Okay. Let's talk about his string raking, because he would do that so much. What is string raking and how do you do it? String raking is where you're muting strings as you're going down or up them. Okay, so it's like a mute, 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 then you hit the note. So you hear this, so you hear that percussiveness before the note, and it adds a lot of interest. And all the big blues guys do it. It's nothing new per se. It just takes a while to get the hang of it. Now, when you're muting notes, you should be, I'm a firm believer of, you should be muting all the notes that you are not playing. Whether you're playing anybody's style or your own or whatever, you have to mute with both your left and right hands. Otherwise, you're going to hear all kinds of unwanted string noise and pops and hiss, especially if you're playing with a lot of gain or if you're bending strings and you're hitting the other ones. If you're getting a lot of string noise, you got to learn how to mute the strings with both hands. I mute the lower strings with the palm resting, and then I'm moving it up and down of my pick hand, and I mute the higher strings by my first finger laying slightly over the strings and muting them. And I have a detailed lesson on that on our full-on website at nextlevelguitar.com. You're going to want to get real good at that. Otherwise, you're going to hear all kinds of noise, and especially if you're playing with a real hot sound. Practice this two-handed muting technique that I teach on the website. One other thing about his guitars too is he seemed to like a lot those Texas Special pickups. Those were pickups that he liked. And in fact, on this guitar, which is a stock Fender Stratocaster, this one I actually came with Texas Special. So I have 3 Texas Specials in this particular guitar, which is kind of cool. It's very bitey, and it has that real throaty single coil, especially sound, these Texas Specials. So it's very aggressive pickup for that sound. However, you do get some hum, and in some venues I play, the hum is very loud, so I really have to control the volume knob. In the studio here, It's very minimal because I'm not cranked up very loud and I'm not adding distortion. If I did that, you'd hear the hum, that 60 cycle hum. It's so common with single coils, and these pickups, you get that. It's just a byproduct. Now you can go to another type of pickup like a lace sensor or the noise canceling pickups, but I find a lot of times they don't have the bite. That's the trade-off, you know. They cancel the hum, but they don't have the bite. But they're developing all kinds of new pickups now, and actually some companies even have designed circuit boards that you can put like in the back of your guitar, like Sir makes one. I haven't tried that yet. If anyone has, send me an email because I'd like to know how that works. They make like a different, you take the back plate off and you install this new plate with this device on the back, and it supposedly cancels the hum. I'd like to try that, see if that really works. Because some venues I play in, wow, I have a lot of Strats, and some of them, whew, the hum is loud. Depending on the lighting overhead or if the TVs are on in the club, I find I can't use some of my Strats in some of the clubs because it's too loud. And some of the ones I really have to work the volume knob and make sure I get it off when I'm not playing. Otherwise, it's really annoying. But again, it's kind of a trade-off if you want that really single coil sound like that. All right, so single coils, Texas Specials, thick strings, aggressive attack, Fender Stratocaster, right hand digging in, lots of rakes and string bendings, and real aggressive style of playing for the most part. Let's talk about that string raking that I mentioned before. So let's say I wanted to bend a string here. Let's just stay in A minor pentatonic, just for sake of argument. A minor pentatonic blues scale. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with string bending, again, that's something we talk about a lot on our website. And string bending is something that could take years to get really good at, but we'll help you through it and get you going and get you started, and then it's up to you to develop it, right? But it takes a while to really get to the point where you're hitting bending in pitch and bending up a step and a half or a minor third and 2 steps and really working the notes. It just takes a little bit of time, but you can do it. First learn run, then learn fly, like I always say.